In a world full of noise, where headlines fade faster than truth, there's a signal steady, unshaken. Look deeper, ask more.
Greetings to everyone. Welcome to Constanta Live, the official platform of the Center for Geopolitical Studies Constanta R&D Group. I'm glad to welcome all of you to Transatlantic Compass program interviews. In this Expert Talks series, we bring together leading European and American experts, diplomats, analysts, policymakers, and strategic thinkers to discuss the defining geopolitical challenges of our time. The transatlantic relationship is entering a new era. Europe and the United States are redefining their role in an increasingly complex world. Our mission is simple: to create a serious intellectual space for strategic dialogue, independent analysis, and forward looking geopolitical conversations. Through exclusive interviews and expert discussions, the Transatlantic Compass program will provide insights into the forces shaping the future of the Euro Atlantic community, Ukraine's future, and the wider international system. Subscribe to Constanta Live, follow our upcoming interviews, share our videos, and join the conversation that shape our future and future of transatlantic relations. It's me, Vera Konstantinova, and it's Constanta Life. So let's begin our journey. Good morning, good evening, whenever you may join us from around the world. I'm Vera Konstantinova, and I welcome all of you to the very first episode of the Transatlantic Compass Series, launched here at Constanta Life. Today we will talking about the European Union, the challenges, the complexities of integration, and the lessons that may also resonate with Ukraine's European path, with a particular focus on the Western Balkans. Serbia's path toward membership in the European Union has entered one of the most delicate phases in recent years. While Brussels continues to call for democratic reforms, stronger rule of law, close alignment with European foreign policy, etc., Belgrade faces growing geopolitical pressure. At the same time, concerns over media freedom, disinformation, and public trust are increasingly shaping the debate over Serbia's future. Tamara Bajčić is joining us, an award-winning media analyst recognized by the International News Media Association as one of the world's leading young media professionals. With extensive experience across media law, public diplomacy, disinformation analysis, she is currently leading initiatives to strengthen transparency and trust in the Western Balkans. Proud to mention that Tamara is my fellow from the McCain Global Leaders program and the part of Demostat team. So, Tamara, welcome to Constanta Life Expert Talks.
Hello, and good morning and good evening to everyone. Depends which time zone you are in.
Tamara, let's begin with the broader geopolitical picture. So, Serbia continues to declare its commitment to join the European Union, yet it has not fully aligned with key EU foreign policy positions, I would say, including sanctions regime following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Is this a strategic balancing act or a growing credibility problem for Serbia's European ambition? What do you say?
Yes, thank you for bringing this question. And first of all, thank you for giving me an opportunity to be a part of the very first episode. It's really a privilege, especially because we are both McCain alumni, but also German Marshall Fund fellows. Let's also mention that related to transatlantic integration. Serbia's balancing act has lasted for many years. It's not just something that is going on in recent years. But today, you're right, today it is increasingly becoming a credibility problem. A candidate country such as Serbia cannot indefinitely present European Union membership as a strategic goal in one hand, while at the same time avoiding alignment with key EU foreign policy positions, especially after Russia's invasion of Ukraine now 4 and more years ago. So we entered the 5th year of the Russian aggression. Serbia has specific historical, energy, and political sensitivities. That's true. But the longer this ambiguity continues, the harder it becomes, and the harder it will be to convince both Brussels and Serbian citizens that European Union integration is truly our country's priority.
Oh, thank you so much for such an answer, a comprehensive answer, Tamara, because maybe let's look from the EU perspective. Yes, Serbia, as you have mentioned, appears to want the economic benefits of integration, but without fully embracing the political obligation, if I understood correctly. So EU accession talks have slowed significantly in recent years. What, in your view, is the single biggest obstacle currently preventing Serbia from moving forward?
It's definitely a tough question to single out just one obstacle and to say it's the single biggest obstacle. But it's not one technical chapter. Perhaps some listeners and viewers might think that it's about technical chapters. It's actually not. It is the lack of credible implementation of EU reforms. Serbia has adopted many laws and many strategies, but the real question we have is whether institutions in Serbia are really independent, whether media pluralism exists in practice, and whether citizens here in Serbia can trust democratic procedures. So the EU accession process depends on fundamentals. That's the rule of law, that's democracy, that's media freedom, and I do emphasize that. As CEO of Research and Publishing Center Demostat, we also have our own independent media portal, but that's also institutional accountability. So definitely the lack of credible implementation of reforms, I would single out if I had to single out just one biggest obstacle.
You specialized and continue to specialize in disinformation and media system, and you have mentioned about the media freedom. So how much does the current media landscape in Serbia distort public understanding of the European Union and its role?
It's another very tough question. The media landscape in Serbia strongly shapes how citizens understand the European Union. I believe it's not just the case here in Serbia, but in general in other countries. In Serbia, however, the EU is often presented in a selective and also contradictory way. As an important economic partner, it's always presented as an very important economic partner, but also as a political actor that pressures Serbia in some very critical issues, such as Kosovo issue, to solve that, or undermines national interests. So this creates confusion among the public opinion. Citizens often do not see the full picture of, for example, how much Serbia depends economically on the European Union, or, for example, sometimes they don't see how much European Union funding supports infrastructure in Serbia, education in Serbia, local development, environmental protection, and so on. So yeah, they strongly shapes, media landscape strongly shapes how citizens understand the European Union here. And unfortunately, when it comes to the media freedom and the situation in media, all indexes and all reports, especially the recent one, shows the recent report shows that Serbia is in the very last position in Europe when it comes to media freedom. We are the only country behind us is actually Belarus. So it's Serbia and then Belarus. So it's a very devastating fact.
Oh, in this regards, you have mentioned some kind of narratives, yes, in Serbia that to some extent are foreign actors put it in, yes. To what extent are foreign actors influencing public narratives in Serbia, particularly regarding, for example, again, relations with the EU, relations with Russia or with China?
It's another great question. My particular area is defense against foreign malign influence and hybrid threats, especially those coming from Russia and China. Foreign actors are very present in Serbia's information space. Russian narratives, especially, are very influential, and especially when it comes to identity, security, and anti-Western sentiment. When it comes to China, China is usually presented through economic development, investments, and infrastructure, since we also have a lot of Chinese companies working in Serbia. I must say that in the Serbian media space, especially in the pro-governmental or to say regime inclined media, you will hear a particular sentence that between China and Serbia there is the so-called iron friendship. So they refer to these relations as the iron friendship. All in all, the European Union, although Serbia's main economic partner, often communicates in a more technical and less emotional way. That leaves, unfortunately, space for actors, other foreign actors, such as those that I mentioned, so Russia and China, to shape public perceptions more effectively and to spread more disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation.
Very highly valued comments, Tamara, because the next question would be dedicated to the losing fight in EU integration process. So based on your work with Demostat, are Serbian citizens losing faith in the EU integration process? And if so, then why?
I would say that many citizens here in Serbia feel that European Union integration has become an endless process without a clear outcome. So it's a long-lasting process. It goes on and on and on. That's one of the reasons some citizens, to significant extent, may be losing faith in EU integration at the moment. On the other hand, some citizens are disappointed by the slow pace of enlargement of the European Union, while others are influenced by years of negative media narratives. So it continues on what we have just said about how media is very important when it comes to shaping the narratives, and how when the European Union is not jumping into the media space to share how much they contribute, it leaves a lot of space for other foreign actors such as China and Russia. So it's all interconnected. And I would say it's all this combined. It's not just one thing that comes as very important when it goes to the question why some citizens may be losing faith. But there is also, I would say, a sense that political elites use the European Union path rhetorically without making the reforms that would make membership realistic. So now we also come back to my answer on your first questions about reforms, and that it does not go to that big extent as we expected. So all this, I would say, create fatigue and skepticism to a certain extent. But I would perhaps conclude this answer with a sentence that citizens who support Serbia in European Union may be disappointed, but they are not giving up our path and Serbia joining the European Union. So they might be disappointed, but not giving up.
Okay, let's back to some kind of issues devoted to media freedom and rule of law, because I guess it's important to mention that EU has repeatedly raised concerns about media freedom and institutional independence in Serbia. Again, how serious are these concerns in practice beyond the official reports?
I already mentioned some of the figures, especially the figure from the latest report that says that when it comes to media freedoms in Europe, we're the worst if we do not count Belarus. So it's Serbia and then Belarus. So it says a lot to democratic public opinion of the European Union when you give a sentence, when you give this fact, it says unfortunately a lot. So it means that these concerns are really very, very serious in our practice. Media freedom is not only about whether criticism formally exists, I would say. It is about whether citizens have access to balanced, diverse, and reliable information in Serbia. However, in Serbia, the problem with all this is the pressure, unequal access to national frequencies, so the frequencies that can be seen throughout the country, also political influence, the regime influence over media, and a public sphere where disinformation and tabloid yellow press narratives often dominate. Also, institutional independence faces similar changes. Institutions, again, we are coming back to the story about institutions. Institutions may exist formally, but their credibility depends on whether they can act without political pressure. And then we come back to the political pressure again. So yes, it is a very serious practice in practice.
Unfortunately, again, let's try to think about economic logic, yes, and Serbia maintains strong economic ties with the European Union, as you have mentioned, yes, before, while deepening partnerships elsewhere. Is this geopolitical balancing sustainable, or will Serbia eventually be forced to choose a clear direction or a clear position?
It is getting harder and harder. It is definitely becoming less sustainable, as you are using this word. It's getting harder, that's for sure. Serbia has benefited from keeping multiple doors open or sitting on multiple chairs, as you wish. But the international environment has changed. After the war in Ukraine, after the Russian aggression, full-scale Russian aggression to Ukraine, the European Union increasingly expects candidate countries to show strategic alignment, so not only economic cooperation. So Serbia can maintain good relations with different actors, but if the European Union membership remains the declared goal of our country, then Serbia will eventually need a much clearer foreign policy direction, I would say, especially in these circumstances, especially also with the war in Iran and everything that is going on in the geopolitical context. So it is becoming less and less sustainable.
I hope we will talk about the Iranian war a little bit later in terms of next episodes, but nevertheless, I would try to finalize, our conversation from your perspective. What concrete reforms, not general commitments, should Serbia implement within, next 12 months to restore the momentum in its EU accession process?
Well, that's up to the government. I am coming from the NGO and media area, but if it were up to me and up to us and as the NGO sector, I would say Serbia should focus on reforms that citizens can actually feel. First and foremost, improving media pluralism. Including transparent media ownership and fair access to national broadcasters and national frequencies. Second, strengthening judicial independence and protecting institutions from political pressure. That's also crucial. Third, improving electoral conditions, including media coverage during campaigns and transparency of financing. But also, as the fourth thing, I would say taking a clearer position, as we have been saying, on foreign policy alignment with the European Union. These are not abstract reforms. They directly affect trust. And again, we are getting back to the previous answers, my answers to your questions. When you have trust, then you have citizens who actually believe in Serbia within the European Union.
Thank you, Tamara. And finally, the very last question. As someone working to strengthen media literacy and public trust, what is your message, both to Serbian citizens, to European leaders about Serbia's place in Europe? And maybe you have a message to Ukrainians as well.
I would say that as for my message to Ukrainians, demonstrates myself and my colleagues, we've been supporting Ukraine in the previous 4.5 years in this disastrous period for Ukraine and your people. So my only message for you, since you are going through all these devastating things, would be stay as strong as possible and continue to fight, because that is the only solution to the devastating consequences of actually standing back and not continuing to fight. So my message would be stay as strong as possible. And I hope Serbia will also continue to help you, as we did help in the previous time. We helped with ammunition, but also now we also helped with a significant financial support, which is, I would say, a big step forward also for our society, but also as help for you as the people of Ukraine. So my heart goes to Ukrainian nation and Ukrainian people. We survived bombardment here in 1999. We know as a nation what it means to be under the attack of an aggressor. We were under an attack in 1999, and Russia is definitely an aggressor that is attacking you. So stay. I know it's much easier to say that than to actually do, but you have a big cause to fight for. So stay strong, hoping that the solution to this situation will come. That's when it comes to my message to the Ukrainian people. When it comes to my message to Serbian citizens, that perhaps might be that Europe should not be seen only as Brussels, only as the red tape, the administration, the bureaucracy, or political conditionality, because it's all about this condition and that condition. Europe is also about institutions. Europe is about protection of its citizens. Europe is about media freedom. Europe is about media that inform, but not rather than manipulate, and rules that apply equally to everyone. So my message to European leaders also is that Serbia's European future cannot be reduced only to geopolitics, nor only to some party that is currently governing. They should support us, citizens, independent media, and democratic institutions more visibly. Serbia belongs in Europe. We belong here geographically, geopolitically, historically. We fought on the right side in both the First and the Second World War. We gave a lot of victims. And I'm saying that because Ukraine is doing the same and did the same back in the days. We fought together also with Ukraine back in the big wars. So I think it's very important that the message is that we, in all these ways, belong to Europe, both Ukraine and Serbia, and that the future has to be built through trust, reforms, and honesty on both sides. I also would like to thank to the European Union for all the help and all the support they are giving to both Serbia and Ukraine on our way towards the European Union, but that they need to do even more now because it's the most important under these circumstances. Also, when it comes to us, since we are under the attack of pro-Russian, pro-Chinese influences, foreign malign influence from these actors, and a lot of disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation campaigns. So our way is definitely towards the European Union, but also towards the Euro-Atlantic integrations, and that's why we need the help coming from the European Union.
Tamara, thank you so much for this conversation, and it was a brilliant conversation, I would say so. Well, that was Tamara Bajčić speaking to us about Serbia European future, media freedom, and the growing battle over information and public trust in the Western Balkans. As Europe confronts new geopolitical realities, Serbia's trajectory may become one of the defining tests of the continent's political future. While Ukraine is on track to EU, we should take into account the experience of other countries to ensure mutual successful story. From me and our KONSTANTA R&D team, thank you for all of you watching our Transatlantic Compass series. Stay with us for new episodes. Subscribe, comment, sharing this episode in order to know more about the Euro-Atlantic integration and Euro-Atlantic processes. Thank you so much and have a brilliant time.